Well, it's been a while since I've done a tool tech talk, so I thought it might be a great time to revisit this series, as I just got a new item for the shop that I think we all need to take a look at. So let's get into it. So if I were to ask you what the most important tool in your shop is, a lot of you would probably say something like a miter saw or a table saw. Or maybe you'd say something like a drill or even a driver. And those are all great answers, and I would tend to agree with you, but there's one item in the shop that I think often goes overlooked. So what is this item? Well, for me, it's a workbench. And there's all different types of workbenches out there, going from classic versions like a Soberg's bench, all the way up to more modern versions like a Festool MFT. But let's face it, those are expensive. When I purchased my Festool MFT, it was about $750, and now I think they go for about $800. And I don't even want to talk about that Soberg's bench. So what are some other options? Well, one option is to build one yourself. And I think every woodworker should do this at least once in their lifetime. This is a great way to practice your skills and become a better woodworker. And I've probably built at least 10 of these in my lifetime, and they keep on getting better and better as my skills progress. And this bench over in the corner is the first bench that I ever made. And I was really proud of this bench when I made it. I just drove in some regular screws into 2x4s, 4x4s, as well as OSB. And I knew nothing about joinery at the time, so I even purchased some metal brackets to tie in the corners, and these weren't exactly cheap. And that bench allowed me to create some amazing projects when I was first starting out, and if it wasn't for that bench, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. But obviously skills progress, and right now I'm in the middle of creating my new bench, and I'm just as proud of this new bench as I was with that old bench. Now, even though this has been a fun build, it hasn't exactly been quick, as I've spent about a month so far building this bench. Now, part of that is due to me creating videos on that build, but even if I wasn't creating videos, I'd bet I'd have 2 weeks into that bench. And sometimes we just don't have the time or the patience to build a whole bench from scratch. Let alone at today's lumber prices, building one from scratch doesn't necessarily save you any money. And that's exactly why we need to check out this latest item I got from my shop. And this item is the 5 feet heavy-duty adjustable workbench from Enjoywood. Before we dig into this package, I first want to talk about price with this bench. As of today's recording, this bench costs less than $210. And remember those brackets that I purchased for my first bench? Well, those were $100 just for the brackets, not including any of that wood. So we're already looking at value for your money with this bench, but is it any good? Well, that's what we need to find out. So the first thing that we need to do is to get this bench out of the box. And I'm happy to report that this box isn't exactly light, as it weighs in at just over 85 pounds, which is hopefully a good thing, as I'm expecting some quality parts in here. Well, after unpacking that, I'll have to say everything was packaged very nicely. It was wrapped in styrofoam and there was no damage to any of the pieces. And there's not a whole lot of parts here, which is a real bonus because it means assembly of this bench is going to be that much easier. Inside one box, you're going to find the foot assembly along with some hardware, and we'll dig into that in just a moment. You'll also find the wooden top of the bench, the black metal frame, the instructions, as well as an electrical outlet. And the instructions are fairly short, and they're extremely easy to read with pictures so that you know exactly where to insert the hardware on the frame. So I'm going to get to assembling this desk so that we can take a look at all of its features. And I wanted to show you the clock, which says 12:32, so that you get an idea of how long it takes. So the process of making this desk was very easy, and it was all due to the instructions that had the detailed pictures. And it really was a matter of 5 steps. The first thing that I did was I attached the power strip to the frame. Once that was done, I attached the stretchers to the side of the bench. And these stretchers really locked in place, giving it a secure hold. With the basic frame assembled, I could then attach it to the wooden top. And this was extremely easy to do, as all the holes for this top were pre-drilled and ready for the screws. The next step was to add the 4 legs with 2 bolts in each leg. And finally, I could attach the adjustable feet on each leg. So right after assembling everything, we're at 1:06, which is just a little bit over a half-hour assembly time. So now that we have this desk assembled, let's take a quick look at some of the features of this desk. The first thing that you'll notice is this beautiful butcher block style top, and this does have a finish on it so it's slick to the touch. And this butcher block top is made out of rubber wood, which I've never worked with before, but it is a hardwood, and interestingly enough, it is the wood that used to produce rubber. Thus the name. And rubber wood has a rating of 980 on the Jenka scale, which is considered a medium level hardwood. Now I already mentioned that this is a 5-foot bench, but I always like to measure it just to make sure. And the depth of this bench comes in at 22 inches exactly. And lastly, the thickness of the butcher block is a little over an inch at about 1 1/8 inches. Now the nice thing about having a hardwood top like this is you're going to be able to customize this and add things like bench dog holes, and I fully intend on adding 3/4 inch bench dog holes to this bench. You'll also notice that there's about 1 3/4 inches of an overhang on all sides of the bench. And this is a great feature so that you can add clamps to any side of the workbench. It should also be noted that this bench is rated for big boys and girls. I'm about 200 pounds and this bench has no problem supporting me, but this thing can actually accommodate 10 of me as it's rated for 2,000 pounds. Next, let's talk about the height of this bench. Now I set this up at its highest level because that's the way I prefer to work. But as we already mentioned, this item is fully adjustable. At its highest level, which is what I have it set to, it's at 39.5 inches. And I even suspect you can go a little higher than that, as I have all 4 feet completely sunk into the frame of the legs. But if you like to work a little bit closer to the ground, you can also lower this bench by about 8 inches. Now let's take a look at what sold me on this bench probably more than any other feature. And that is the electrical strip. So let's plug this in and take a closer look. First off, the cord is about 4.5 feet long, which should be plenty of distance to get you to your closest outlet. Now, if you've never had electrical outlets on your bench, I can guarantee you once you try it, you'll never go back. On my homemade bench, you can see I've added an aftermarket power strip, and now I just can't live without it. As you can see with the Enjoywood bench, it comes with 4 outlets as well as a backlit switch. This makes it perfect for plugging in a power tool right at your bench and getting straight to work. And if we look directly below that power strip, you'll also notice another nice feature. And that is a simple metal hook that will allow you to keep your cords organized and prevent them from being tangled. But that's just one side of this bench. Let's take a look at the other side and see what's going on over there. Conveniently, they've actually incorporated some storage over here. As you can see, there's a small pegboard right at the top of the frame. And not only did they provide you with a pegboard, but they also provided you with the hardware that you need for that pegboard, including 10 3-inch pegs as well as 5 5-inch pegs, allowing you to have just a little bit of organization for some of those items that you often misplace. Well, I'm super impressed with this bench from Enjoywood. I don't think you're going to find a better value with all the features that we've taken a look at today for under $210. Whether it's the butcher block hardwood top you're looking for, the adjustable height feature of the bench, the integrated pegboard with included hardware, or the 4-plug integrated electrical, you really can't beat some of the features with this bench. So if you're looking for an additional bench for your shop that's easily integrated, or maybe even your first bench to get you started, this one from Enjoywood may be the right one for you. Well, thanks so much for joining me today on this Tool Tech Talk. I really enjoyed showing you this bench, and if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button, leave a like, and leave a comment. It really does help out this small woodworking channel. Also, make sure you check out my website, www.flynndogwoodwork.com. Until next time, take care as always.